I think we can all agree that it's not an uncommon thing to see bands, businesses, and now podcasts split up, rebrand, and go their separate ways. And well, today, the show that we all once loved, The King and the Sting, is officially not a thing and has been rebranded to The Golden Hour, which is going to be hosted by Brendan Schaub, of course, Chris D'Elia, and Eric Griffin every Friday. This obviously means that Theo Von is officially out of the podcast, and it's not a surprise. That was expected. That's pretty much what he announced back a few months ago. But the whole rebranding was announced with this interesting video right here.
We're friends that laugh, we're friends that shout. Sometimes we don't know what we're talking about, but that won't stop us. Nothing can stop us. Ooh, yeah. 'Cause I'm sure you use the love, just rebrand it enough. It's stronger, better, bigger power, 'cause it is the golden hour. It's the golden hour.
So they did a full 180 with the show. They went the sitcom route for the intro, which is respectable. The set looks pretty nice. But the funny thing is that people were pointing out that Ben, the guy who made the intro song, actually looks like Brendan Schaub's assistant, Mark Hartley. And once you look at it, once you take a look, you cannot unsee it. This is Mark Hartley. This is Ben, the guy who made the intro song. What in the... What in the multiverse is going on, right? So I thought that was pretty interesting. I do wonder how the show will do, because according to the social blade stats of the King and the Sting, the Golden Hour podcast, they have been losing subscribers for the past month, and the views have been dipping, which based on the metrics is not, it hasn't been going down by that much. Maybe just the people that followed Theo Von out of there. But obviously, this could all change now, because if you look at Chris D'Elia's Instagram page, he has 2.2 million followers, and he's still doing pretty well on YouTube. So he is bringing traffic. And Eric Griffin, on the other hand, does need a little bit of help with his YouTube page with subscribers, but he's doing pretty well on Instagram. And again, the show is not going to tank, because D'Elia and Eric Griffin alone are pretty damn funny together. If you watch the new episode, the big reveal, they had some pretty funny moments. So I can see this actually being successful. It'll just be a matter of how Brendan Schaub adapts to both of them, because he adapted pretty well with Theo Von, which brings us to the next point. And before we continue, if you can do me a huge favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton, and we are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. In my opinion, the show actually lasted more than I thought it would, because when I saw that Theo Von was doing the Zoom appearances and then missing a lot of episodes, I thought that it was going to be over back then, but they actually kept it going for a lot longer, which is all because of Brendan Schaub, who, kept the show running. However, him leaving the podcast, while it was still a massively successful show, was a bit weird to me, because yes, he did move out of California, and it was an intense thing to, keep up with the podcast, but many other people do it. Two Bears, One Cave, even though obviously it's extremely more successful, they still do it. I believe Bert lives in LA, Tom lives in Austin, and they still do the podcast. So maybe there was a part of Theo Von that didn't want to continue with the show, and this was a perfect opportunity to jump ship. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people like to speculate on why he left, and some people think that him and Schaub didn't get along anymore. He wasn't feeling the show, whatever. But in my opinion, Theo Von left for the exact same reason that Joe Rogan and everybody else left California: for taxes. If you take a look at the state that Theo Von decided to move to, which is Tennessee, you can see that it's the one of only 8 states that have no personal income tax. Right after Wyoming, Washington, Texas, Nevada, Florida, Alaska, the drill. So that's my opinion. I think he just started getting so much money, he didn't want to pay those high tax brackets. And I don't remember in which episode, but he talked about it with someone, how there was a certain amount of days that he needed to stay in Tennessee in order to be able to file taxes there. Don't quote me on that, but I remember him talking about that. So that's my opinion on why he moved. Again, Theo Von did leave when the show was still pretty successful. He would miss a lot of episodes and would do a lot of Zoom appearances, which is horrible. And this can all be summarized by this fan submission.
Golden Hour.
I've seen him before.
Boys. It is Noah from Nashville.
Nice.
Just want to say congrats on the new show. Congrats on getting rid of Theo's lazy ass. Being inconsistent as dude. F him, dude. Some people are like, dude, where's Theo? Show's not the same. Dude, f those guys
Whoa.
too.
Whoa.
Anyways, Jesus. So instead of King It or Sting It, for right now, we're going to call it Sour or Power. And, it is what it is. You guys figure it out. But, dude, my Sour or Power would be...
This guy's great.
You licking your fingers after eating chips, dude. You sucking that dust off or what, player?
Now, if you want to put your tinfoil hat on, you can argue that this fan submission was clearly planted and it was a shot at Theo Von. The reason I say that was because that fan was, it was a perfect message. It was a nice submission. It almost looked planned. And then the fact that they actually got their next segment idea from that, which is replacing King It or Sting It with Sour or Power. It's just a bit convenient to get that on the first episode, but it could be true. There was also a couple of times that Chris D'Elia sort of took shots at Theo Von. On a previous episode, he made a joke about Theo Von's ghost being in the room. And in this past episode, he talked about how The King and the Sting is the show that they don't talk about.
You literally look like someone that would be on Flaunt My Aunt or whatever.
Yeah, you do.
That's what you look like.
Yeah, this is my aunt. Go through the transition.
That's what it was, right? Flaunt My Aunt on the old show.
Yeah,
But this is
that we don't speak of anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. Flunkle my uncle.
It's about time we do that show. It's your hot uncles.
Yeah. Hot uncles, dude. That's what we should do for the new one. Hot uncles.
Yeah, let's get up in here, man.
Hot uncles.
Obviously, they didn't say the name, but they implied to it, which I thought it's an interesting joke. And maybe there is some sort of dynamic going on there that they think that Theo Von abandoned the show when it was just inconvenient for him, which I can see why they would think that. I highly doubt that there's any beef between them because I didn't get to screenshot it, but Theo Von posted a picture with D'Elia and Trevor Wallace on his Instagram story, so I don't think there's any friction there. But what do you think? Will the rebrand be successful? Will the show continue going on for a while, or is one of them going to leave within the next year? I do wonder because I honestly think that it's a great opportunity for Eric Griffin. He does deserve all the exposure that he can get. I think he's a really funny guy, and frankly, if you watch the show, you can see that he is the only one that makes Chris D'Elia and Brendan Schaub laugh, which is a tough thing to do when you're talking about actual comedians talking to each other. The name they chose is pretty interesting, but my only criticism to that is that there are like 5 other Golden Hour podcasts, which I don't think it's going to matter at the end of the day. At least they didn't go with 2 thick boys, 1 skinny boy, or whatever. Thank God they didn't use the thick boy name again. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you made it this far, please leave a like. Again, subscribe to the channel. Well, if you are already subscribed, appreciate that. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, and it helps out a ton. Dislike if you didn't like the video. We will be uploading at least 3 times a week. But that's all we have for today. See ya.